it's like I was kind of put in a situation where she was like, oh, I can't hang out with you two together. And I was like, okay, but
why?
she had issues with your family and racism and
I know.
stuff, and
that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. I hate when they do it. Big time. They've gotten better.
They have.
But yeah, they're really bad with it. And I think a lot of it stems from being young and my mom not liking biracial couples and all of that. She's really conservative.
Yeah.
You could have just told me we didn't have to come here. Like, I wouldn't have minded it. We could have just had my house off limits. Like, I would have been fine with that.
But if
she could have just told me. Did she think I was?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was having problems. Yeah, and she associated you. And
With
she
my
does.
family?
She does this with everything. She's so quick to jump the gun.
So she basically thought since my family's that way, I'm that way.
Yeah.
Like
That was a personality thing, and it's like, that's my best friend. It's a personality flaw. It's something I got over. I mean, she would stop listening to artists right away the minute they were any way, shape, or form related to an issue that wasn't necessarily Thor's. I remember the Nicki Minaj thing. She was like, I don't support her anymore because her mom paid for her sister to get out of bail or something. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But if I'm in my car and Nicki Minaj's song comes on, I'm playing that shit.
I didn't know she was like that.
And I accepted it because I'm like, she's got such a strong personality. I thought it was great. She was so out front, outspoken. She's active. I consider her an activist in my mind.
How did she think I was racist when I dated?
I don't think it's not like that.
But my issues is like, do I act like that?
I don't even think that that's the entire issue. I think that's just a reason she gave me that she thought was going to be good enough for me to be like, okay, let me back off. Mm-hmm. But it's like, at that point, I mean, I had spent summers, I had spent weeks length of time
with me
in her
weeks.
household.
Your parents had to text you and be like, I think you need to come home. I think you're getting on our nerves.
Like, and her, I mean, like, her brother let me in the house the other day when he was the only one here because they went to go to your aunt's house or something with her. Like, it's just, there was no way
we could give you a key and we wouldn't care. Like, it's one of those things. Like,
there was no way that one simple comment that I knew wasn't true was going to sway me from not talking to her. So
especially knowing me. Yeah. And knowing my family, like, the difference, I get where she's coming from because my family does say things.
They do say things.
But it's also, when I was growing up and playing sports and being one of the only white people and we had to deal with all the racist stuff, they were there standing by the team.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to understand where I think me growing up and growing up with Derek and his family and growing up with all of them and I think they realized that they need to stop.
Yeah, they say some things, but it's
more
also,
my mom.
Yeah, it's a weirdly weird combination.
I don't know.
But it got to the point that I was like, okay, if y'all can't hang out together, that's fine. But what I had always recognized was that she was never like the most reliable person to be like, hey, you want to hang out? Even if it was just me and her. So I could text her and I'd be like, hey, you want to go somewhere? And because I knew she didn't necessarily want to go with Alyssa, I'd be like, you want to go somewhere? And I might get like some flaky answer, or I might get a confirmation and then a decline. And I knew she's just emotionally not there all the time. I'll be like, okay, whatever. But that never stopped me from being like, hey, Alyssa, let's go do this. Or like trying to invite her with me and Alyssa, and she would still just say no. But like, I wasn't going to stop hanging out with my friend because she couldn't hang out with her.
I feel like I know where it went wrong when me, Kevin, you, and her all got in that one argument.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. That needs to be a story time.
Even though I couldn't hang out with her and Alyssa together,
doesn't mean you can't hang out with both of us. Like, that's what I don't comprehend.
But then it was like, it was getting really hard to hang out with just her. Like, I couldn't even get a hang of just her. And I mean, me and her cousin are actually very familiar with each other, where I consider us friends. I consider us close. I mean, we talk sometimes.
Yeah.
We go hang out sometimes, just the two of us together. And I mean, I just thought it was crazy that she couldn't bring herself to talk to me. And I remember, like, I think the last big issue that I had was because I hadn't talked to her since, like, the beginning of sophomore year of college when I went back. Because we didn't...
You showed me the text messages.
Yeah, we didn't hang out. The summer I came back after freshman year, we both came back that summer. We saw Chance the Rapper. Me and her went to go see Chance the Rapper. I did not see her again until we went to Pride. And then after that, I don't think I saw her. I maybe hung out with her and her cousin a couple times.
Because I remember
that summer
when we went to Pride, she didn't say anything to me.
Yeah.
I remember that. Because Allie was with us.
Yeah, you and Allie were there.
I never knew the actual issue. Like, you really could have come and talked to me. We are grown and mature enough for you to just tell me the problem you have and we can talk it out. Like, but she doesn't do that.
I think that was, and I understand it because I am also socially awkward, and I think that's a level of friendship that you guys never actually, and I think that's problem. That's a level of friendship you guys never actually got to, because I know that there have been plenty of times where I've been like, what the shit are you doing, or something. Like, I've said something about what you've said or what you've done, and you've said something about what I've said or what I've done. But you and Alex were never close enough to just be that upfront about being offended by something. Like, me and you,
I think there's legit one time we seriously got pissed at each other because I remember we were dropping Alex off and we were talking about something. We were talking about Becky with the burnt hair and you said something.
Oh yeah, I said.
And it was so quiet.
I said she gets too emotionally invested, and that was like a big hit for her. But
it was true, and I needed to, like, comprehend that.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with getting emotionally invested.
No, it's just we're different people.
Yeah, I personally
This is gonna be a whole nother video
also. Okay. But yeah, so sophomore year, came back into sophomore year. We weren't really talking. I was at school making friends. I wasn't tripping off of it. Basically did not text pretty much all semester. And I was going through sophomore year. I was going through some shit. Freshman year, I was going through some shit. But sophomore year was an especially different time. You just want your best friend, and I could not rely on that.
Yeah, I feel like you've talked to me a few times.
Yeah.
During that. But we don't talk about serious things because you don't like to.
I don't.
But you'll, if I need to talk about something serious, like, that's the thing, like, even though we didn't talk, if I needed you, I could really just call you up and you would listen. Yeah. Like, I called you at school in the middle of the day, crying over the crazy bitch. Like, you know what I mean? So
I don't think I ever had that. I don't want to say it's the trust. I don't think I really don't think, because it was always in the back of my mind that she's had friends that she's ghosted. I've heard the stories about how she's treated people. I've heard how it all went down, and although something in me wanted to say that, like, that would never be me, something also kept me from saying, like, hey, this is somebody you can put your whole trust in and you can talk to them about this. But like, that sophomore year, which I'm just now going to my junior year, so this was September, November time-ish. I sent her like a series of text messages. It was real short, and it was like, just, hey, I love you, how are you doing, I hope you're doing fine, or whatever. And we talked back together for like a few minutes, like literally a few minutes. And we were like, okay, let's hang out. Christmas break is coming up, we're both going home, let's hang out. Christmas break time rolls around. I can't fucking get a hold of her. I mean, I've hung out with her cousin at this point. I've hung out with Alyssa. We've gone out to eat, and she will not text me back. So I invite her to my Christmas Eve party, which everybody gets invited to. All of my friends get invited to because it's something I hold every year. She says maybe she'll come. I say okay. Just let me know what's happening. She doesn't text me back, and we have not texted since then. Because I think after that, I was already at a point where it was like, I was
so close to being done.
Yeah, I was mad at the world, and I was going through some shit, and all I needed was somebody who would reply, and she wasn't that person. So when it's like, I invite you over to see me on a holiday where we're all trying to just have fun. And I mean, her cousin came. I went to her cousin's house. I picked her cousin up, drove her cousin back. Me and her cousin and Alyssa and my friend who's from high school, we all hung out after Christmas Eve. We had a nice little time, and I couldn't get a text back. And at that point I was like, you know what? I'm done. If she never texts me again, I mean, I can't keep being the person, because again, it goes back to me in high school and me being the person like, hey, you want to hang out? Hey, what's going on? And she was never willing to like, what's good, son?
Bye, I love you. Okay, cool, bye. Yeah, he doesn't love me.
Oh my gosh. But where was I? But yeah, like fresh, like going through high school and remembering that there were some times that I was really hurt by the fact that she wouldn't text me, or that I would get ghosted at the end of a conversation, or that like I couldn't get a hold of her, that she would like bail on me. And I always like put it down as like she's not happy in her life, and I understand that, and that's something I'm going to have to deal with. And I think I got to the point where I was a sophomore in college. I'm going through some shit in my life. I'm trying to figure out who's in my corner, and it was like I don't have time to necessarily put too much effort into, oh my gosh, into keeping up with somebody who didn't want to keep up with me. So that was the last time I texted her, and since then I have been dealing with being ghostedness. I don't know if I ghosted her, if she ghosted me. I was just waiting for the time where she would come to me instead of me having to reach out like I always did. Yeah. And it hasn't happened. So going into my junior year, I'm just trying to move past that. And I always try to say that if she ever tries to like contact me again, I would be willing to hear her out, but I don't know if I could deal with... You
can trust her.
Yeah, I don't know if I could deal with that, or if I could trust her, or deal with somebody who's not willing to like put in the efforts to be friends with me. Because I mean, I don't make friends easy, and it takes a lot of energy and self-conscious thought on my part to like open up to being friends with somebody. So that was a big blow to me. But and I'd love to be able to be friends with her, but like I think we've all just grown up, and we've realized that there are just some major differences in who we are that are going to be keeping us apart for a very long time, until we learn how to grow past that. If we learn how to grow past that.
It comes to the point though, when you're the only one trying, that you try until you can't anymore. But then people hold that against you because they're like, well, you weren't trying. I've been trying this whole time, but you were like ghosting me, ignoring me.
I had been trying for years, and it was a lot of work, and I was trying to be the best person I could for her because I knew she needed the support. And I realized that when I needed that support, I couldn't count on her, and it was like...
Yeah, it sucks when that happens. And it comes to the point where like, if you're going through stuff, you can't like, and you can't rely on somebody. Like, I get the point, like, when I go through stuff and somebody comes with me a problem, I throw my problems aside and I talk to them. Yeah. And that's not how it should be in any friendship at all. Or when you get a friend, you're like, oh yeah, like, I've had so many people who are like, yeah, and I'll tell them my problems. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, but I'm going through this. That it's like, you trying to one up me now, like.
Yeah, like even if she was my best friend, I could never put her at the top of the priority list, because it's like, if I'm going through something and I need to get out the house, there's no telling that I could text her or whatever and it'd be okay. But like, I knew that even when I don't talk to Alyssa about a lot of things, but I know that it's like, hey, I need to get out the house for a minute. If I text Alyssa, she'll probably answer in a couple minutes. If she's not at home now, she'll be home later, and she'll be like, hey, you wanna whatever. And having that reliability is important in a friendship, and it's something I didn't get in that necessary situation. And I'm moving on with life, and that is the entire story of how I got ghosted by the person who was supposed to be my best friend.